Okay, the trigger is that whenever you are going to do some data manipulation commands like insert, delete, or update, you want to do some check, right, before inserting or before deleting. Please check this condition. If it satisfies, do something. Okay, like our if class. Okay, we are going to have the trigger. It is a kind of stored procedure. So we will discuss about the stored procedure after this. So you can use the trigger before inserting or after inserting the values. Okay, so if you want to create a trigger, what you have to do is first you have to use the keyword delimiter and this double slash. Instead of double slash, you can even use like ampersand symbol or dollar symbol like that. Okay, so this is the first step. And then to create a trigger, like other things like create database, create table, create view, you have to use the keyword create and then trigger. And as usual, you have to give the name to your trigger. Okay, so this is the first step. After that, what you have to do is you are going to perform this operation whether before inserting or after inserting. Okay, so here I'm using before, you can even use after. That's up to you when you're going to create a database. Okay, so before, and then here whether you're going to which data manipulation things you're going to create a trigger for, like insert, update, delete. Here I have used insert. So instead of insert, if you want to do this operation for update command, you can use update there. If you want to do it for delete command, you can use delete there. Okay, next you have to use the keyword on, and then on which table you are going to create a trigger. Okay, so you have to provide the table name here, and for each row you have to apply this comment. You have to apply this condition for each row before inserting. Okay, so for that you are using the keyword for each row, and then to give the condition you have to use the keyword begin, and you have to give the if condition. Here what I have done is, so in our employee table we are having department ID, right? So if I enter department ID as D11, what it should do is it should change the department ID to D2 whenever I'm entering department ID as D11. Okay, and then you have to end it with semicolon, and we have started the if, right? So you have to we have begin that, and then we have if, so we are going to end it both. Okay, and then we have started the delimiter here. Here we are having ended the delimiter. Okay, are you able to understand this?
So department ID with D11 will be replaced by D2.
Whenever I'm going to enter a record with department ID D11, okay, so I'll show you the example. That time you will be able to understand it clearly. Okay, first let me run this thing.
Okay, ma'am.
So let it run. So we have created the trigger here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the value into the employee table. So first select start from employer. Let me run this query. So now I'm going to enter the values. So how to insert the values into the table? Do you know the query, right? Do you know the query how to insert the values? Okay, let me give you. Yeah. Insert into employer, and then you have to use the keyword values. So I'm going to enter the values for all the columns. Okay, so I'm directly giving the keyword values. Okay, so if I'm going to enter values for some certain specific columns, then I will be giving the column names in the bracket here, and then I will be giving the values in the values keyword. Okay, so next, first one is employee ID. So let it be, which is the last one here, E7, right? So let it be E8. So since it is a varchar data type, I'm giving it in a quotation. And then employee name, just give it as John. Okay, comma, and then department ID. So here whatever is our condition, whenever we are entering D11, it should change it to D2. Okay, so I'm going to enter D11. Okay, comma, then project ID P3, and then manager ID M2. Okay, so that's it. Now let me run this query. Okay. Okay. So the query has been executed. Now, so you can see in the previous one, we don't have E8. So here we have given D11. So let me select it. Now we have E8 here. So while inserting, I have given D11. Okay. But you can see here it has changed to D2 there.
D2.
Okay. So this is how your trigger works. Okay. So you have to give the delimiter and then create a trigger using the keyword create and then trigger, and you have to provide the name for your trigger and you have to give whether it is before or after. Okay, so here I have used before. You can even change it to after and check what it do. Okay, here I have used the trigger for insert command. You can even use the trigger for update and delete commands. And then you have to use the keyword on, and you have to give the table name on which you are going to perform this trigger operation. Okay, and for each row, then begin, you have to give the condition here. Don't forget to end it with semicolon or else it will show you error. Okay, and then end it with if and end the delimiter. Okay, are you able to understand this? Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
So next we are moving on to the stored procedure. Okay. Stored procedure. It is like we are having some SQL statements, right? So we are having some pre-compiled SQL statements. It is like a function in our Python. Whatever functions in our Python will do.
Will for repeated coding, we'll be using functions.
Yeah. So instead of repeating the code, what we will do, we will put the code into the function. So whenever we need that, we will call the function name itself. Okay. So like the function here, our stored procedure will work. Okay. You can even say it is a stored procedure, or you can say it is the subroutine. Okay. So like our function, the stored procedure is also have a name. We can even pass the parameter list also inside the stored procedure. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see an example for that. So about the theory concepts of stored procedures and all, I will upload the content, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So first, let's see the syntax for that. So before like trigger, you have to use the delimiter here. Delimiter. So as I said, you can use that slash or ampersand, likewise whichever symbol you like, you can use here. Okay. So after delimiter, what you have to do is you have to use the keyword create and then
Create.
procedure. Okay. Afterwards, what you have to do is you have to give the name for the procedure. Okay. And then you can even pass parameters inside the column. Okay, there is another thing called in out some functions that so I'll be discussing that. Okay, now let's learn about this concept only. Okay. So parameters. So after the parameter, what you have to do is it is not necessary to give the parameters like the function. It's just an optional one. If there is a need, you can give it. Okay. So, and then you have to use the keyword like begin. Okay. And then you can use the statements here. It can be any statements like even your SQL statements can be here, your if statements can be here. So it's not an issue. Okay. So here only you will be declaring your variables, or if you want to execute some queries and all, you can put it in the statement block. Okay. And then you can end it. So that's it. This is how you have to create your stored procedure. Okay. So the first thing is you have to use the create procedure keyword, and then you have to use the procedure name. Okay. And if you want to pass some parameters, you can pass the parameters inside the procedure name, the same like the functions in the programming languages. Okay. And then you have to use the keyword begin. And then in the statements, there will be two parts. Like if you want to declare any variables, you can declare some variables. Afterwards, if you want any code to be executed, that code will be inside this begin and end statements. Okay. So in this procedure, we are having the three parameters. I mean three mode, that is in, out, in, out. Okay. So what is the purpose of this and all? We will be working on it. So first let me explain it. What are these in, out and in, out? These are the three modes I will be using in the procedure. Okay. So if you don't give any of these three mode, the default one is in. Okay. So it is not necessary to give the modes inside the procedure. So if you don't provide any three modes, the default one is in. Okay.
In.
So what it will do is you will be using it when you are providing the parameters here. Okay. So what it will do is it will take the parameter as an input. Okay. Whatever you are passing in the parameters, it will take it as a input. Okay. So that parameter will be always protected. In programming language, I think I didn't discuss you about the private, public, and protected. So I'll be discussing. So we were having very small number of hours, so I could not able to discuss everything. So if you want, I can do it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if it is a in one, it is protected. The protected in the sense it cannot be changed without any permission. Your private and protected values cannot be changed unnecessarily. Your public variable can be easily changed. So while I'm discussing about those concepts, you will be able to understand that. Okay. And your out parameter, and your out mode, what it will happen is it will use to pass the parameter as output. Okay. So the value of this, when you're given the mode as out, what will happen is you can change the value of the parameters inside the procedure. Okay, so if it is changed, again the changed value will be passed to as the parameters there. Okay, so if you are using in, you cannot change it without certain conditions. If it is out, it is like a public one, so you can change it. Are you able to understand this?
Yeah, in we can change we cannot change the parameters.
Yeah, without certain
Out
condition, we
can
cannot change it. It is like a protected variable. Okay, route is like a public variable.
Okay.
Okay, so then your in and out is the combination of both your in and out parameters. Okay, so
Okay.
since it is a combination of both the things, it can be changed. Okay, you can pass the new parameters values there. Okay, you can even modify the in out parameter.
Okay.
Okay, so then after creating the stored procedure, we have created the stored procedure here, right? So after that, to call the stored procedure, it is like a function I said. So how we will call the function in Python?
Well, print.
No. I have created the function. So in order that function to work, what I have to do? I have to call the function. How we will call the function?
First we'll define it.
Okay. We'll call the function by its name.
Then return. Yeah.
Okay. So if someone asks you how to call the function, we'll call the function by its name, by the function name. Okay. So here, if you want to call the procedure, what you have to do is you have to use the keyword call. Okay, you have to use the keyword call, and then you have to use the procedure name. So let me end it here. Let me start procedure name, and then you have to use the parenthesis here. If there is any parameters, you can pass the parameters inside it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let me create a procedure without parameter first, and then I will create a procedure with the parameters. The first thing is, what you have to do, you have to first use the delimiter. Here I'm using the symbol ampersand, and then you have to create the procedure. Create procedure, and then procedure name. We are going to create a procedure for employee. Okay, so always give the meaningful name here. So for the employee table, I'm going to create a procedure to fetch me the employer name. Okay, so I have given the name as employer name, and then just parameters. Afterwards, what I have to do, I have to use the keyword begin. Okay, and then I'm going to use the simple command like select emp name from employer. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to use the command end. Okay, and end it with double ampersand. Okay, are you able to understand this?
Yes.
Any doubts?
No.
Okay. So now let me run this. So it says error. Okay. So since it is a procedure, Let's end it with the delimiter. Okay, or else if I have missed anything, trigger already exists. Create trigger already exists. Okay, fine. Then okay. So since I have already created the trigger, it is not executing this procedure here. Okay, let me check this problem. You just work on the database I have provided you. Okay.
Okay.
Let me start the screen. So are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when I have started the trigger, I have started the delimiter, right?
Yes.
So before ending the delimiter, I have created another delimiter here. So that's why it shows that create trigger department already exists. Okay. So what I have done is here after completing the trigger, I have again called the delimiter.
Delimiter.
Okay. So if you have called the delimiter here means you can create a new delimiter here. So now I have done this and our code has been executed. Here you can see our code has been executed. Okay. So again, for the sake, I will
Yes.
stop it with delimiter so that we will not face the same thing again. Okay. So delimiter is not valid at this position. Okay, fine. Then we will remove this. So now I have created the procedure here. So how to call the procedure? How to call the procedure?
With procedure name.
Yeah, call. Our procedure name is employer underscore name and it with semicolon. Now run this code. So what will happen is the same like the function. It will now go to this employer name
With
and it
procedure
will.
name.
Sorry. Yes, Vandana.
Yeah, got it, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So it will go to there and it will check what the code we have done here and then it will perform the code here. Okay, you can see it has run. I have called the function, I mean procedure, and it has given me the output as the employer name.
Employer.
Okay, so then let's call a new procedure here. So delimiter double / . 2 / 3 / 4 / 5 / 6 / 7 / 8 / 9 / 10 / 11 / 12 / 13 / 14 / 15 / 16 / 17 / 18 / 19 / 20 / 21 / 22 / 23 / 24 / 25 / 26 / 27 / 28 / 29 / 30 / 31 / 32 / 33 / 34 / 35 / 36 / 37 / 38 / 39 / 40 / 41 / 42 / 43 / 44 / 45 / 46 / 47 / 48 / 49 / 50 / 51 / 52 / 53 / 54 / 55 / 56 / 57 / 58 / 59 / 60 / 61 / 62 / 63 / 64 / 65 / 66 / 67 / 68 / 69 / 70 / 71 / 72 / 73 / 74 / 75 / 76 / 77 and then create procedure. I'm giving the procedure name as addition. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to okay. So now I'm going to show you how to declare a variable inside the procedure. Okay, I have already told you, right? Inside the statements here, in the statements, you can declare the variables and execute them. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to declare the variables here. Okay, after creating the procedure, in order to declare a variable, you have to use the keyword declare. Okay, and then you have to provide the variable name here. Okay, so I'm going to give num1. Afterwards, you have to provide the data type int. Okay, so this is how you have to create a variable here. Okay, so if you want to create multiple variables, okay, if you want to create instead of using declare, you can even use like in the other programming languages num1 int. Like this also you can even use this. Okay, are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so after declaring the variable, if you want to assign the values to the variable, what you can do is you can use the keyword set num1 equal to 5. Okay, ended with semicolon, or else you can even directly use num1 equal to 5 without using the set here. Okay, so here I'm having num1, right? If I want to declare multiple variables in the int, so I can use comma here, and then I can provide the variable name there. In the single line, I can declare the multiple variables. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Without using declare and set also, the result will be same,
yeah,
no?
same.
Okay.
So, the thing is that what you have to do is when you are using this line, when you are declaring the, assigning the value, you have to use colon here. So, in Python, we will be using simply comma, right? Here you have to use colon here. Colon, comma. You have to use here. Okay?
Okay.
So, everything should be inside the begin.
Begin and end.
Yeah. Now, after this, what you have to do is, if you want to perform some operation on this variables, like I want to add a new value. Okay, so here I'm going to create a new variable result. Okay, now what I want is I want result colon equal to num1 plus num2. Okay, I want result colon equal to num1 plus num2. End it with semicolon. Okay. So let's use the keyword set. Okay, if it is not working, use the keyword there. Okay, we don't know how this version is working. Okay, so if it shows error, you just use the keyword there. Afterwards, what I want is I want the result to be printed. So select result. and then you can end it. So delimiter is double slash, right? So end it with double slash. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me try to run this. Let's see whether it is showing error or not. So employee name is already created. So then what you have to do is okay. And then delimiter. Now let me try to execute this. So now our code is executed. So here I have executed that query. So our procedure has been executed. Then you have to call the procedure here. So call addition. Now I'm running this. Okay. So okay, so let's try to put the select query inside the another begin. Now let me run this. So let's see our R replace command is working or not in our procedure thing. So it is not working there. Okay. So again it seems. So right. So it should execute it. It's not working here. Okay. So let's use the keyword select result from devel. Okay. Now let me call the query here. So again it is showing none. It is not calculating the value here. Let's see whether it is. will select 8 plus 7 from dual. So this one is working here. I think I have made some mistakes here in this query. So let me check that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, fine. So I have given num1 is equal to 5. But as for num2, I haven't declared any value. Okay. 6. And it's a semicolon. Yeah, now let me run this. Again, it is showing null. Why is it like that? Okay, fine. Let me check with it and explain you in the tomorrow's class. Okay. The query LR is perfect. So I don't know whether it is due to the version problem or something. So I will explain it to you in the tomorrow's class. So as for this from dual, in the new version, whenever you're not having the table name, it's like you want to do some calculation like that thing. You don't want to any table name. So your dual will act like a dummy table in your SQL.